Introducing the Lowe's List for Innovation. While our aisles are filled with innovative products, we've selected our favorites just for you. Like the exclusive Whirlpool washer with industry-first 2-in-1 removable agitator. We love this washer because you can customize any load. And with other smart features to streamline your laundry routine, this product is a must-have for families. Shop the full Lowe's list of top picks at Lowe's.com. Lowe's, home to any budget, home to any possibility. U.S. only.
Made plans for summer childcare yet? If not, don't worry. Care.com can help. At Care.com, you can find trusted, reliable, and affordable sitters near you with flexibility that fits your summer plans. And because the best decisions are made with Care, 100% of caregivers who use Care.com have been background checked with CareCheck, a key first step for families to make strong hiring decisions. This summer, get help with activities, tutoring, pickups, drop-offs, and more. Sign up now at Care.com.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
Hey guys, this is Matt Seidel, and you're listening to Keepin It Strong Style.
Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Let's go. It's the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh. Come and hit a job out and bury all the frauds. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is the network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping the strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here with the young boy Josh Smith. On today's show, we'll be reviewing the first couple nights of Kizuna Road, answering your questions, and covering all this news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. You can support our show by subscribing and following the Social Suplex Podcast Network or Keeping It Strong Style on the podcast app of your choice and leaving a rating and review. You can also get all the podcasts and columns over at socialsuplex.com. Check out our Pro Wrestling Tee store, prowrestlingtees.com/socialsuplex. That's where you can get your official Keeping It Strong Style t-shirt. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider making a one-time or monthly donation by visiting socialsuplex.com/donate and clicking on the donate button under the Keeping It Strong Style logo. This week's episode is brought to you by the NJPW EXT, the only browser extension for NJPWWorld.com with features like dark mode, improved translations and layouts, custom and shared playlists, synchronized viewing parties, and much, much more. It takes NJPW World to the next level. You can visit njpwext.us today for details. Young boy, how you doing, man?
I'm ready to talk about professional wrestling.
Nice. Well, first thing before we jump in on the professional wrestling of New Japan, we got to talk about the fantasy draft, Social Suplex fantasy draft. The voting has been out. The card.
You mean the wrestling that we already talked about that people need to go out there and lend their support over?
Yes. The voting is up. You can go to socialsuplex.com/vote, and there you'll see all the cards listed from all the podcasts that participated in the fantasy draft. You can see the cards. You can listen to the audio, the presentation of the cards, and you guys know what to do. Go over there, vote for your boys, Keeping a Strong Style. Once again, we put together a fire card. And nobody's beating our card.
Yeah, top to bottom, we have the strongest card collectively on the network. And if you guys want, go ahead and check out the audio of Part 1 and Part 2 of the Social Suplex draft this year. Really, really good audio content. And then support us by voting. But even if you don't listen to the audio content, it's in the link there. Just go ahead and take a look at the cards. I'm not telling you to vote for us specifically. I'm saying vote for the best card. It just happens that we are the ones with the best card, so it'll be a pretty easy, no, it won't be a point of contention. I feel very confident. You're going to look at it. You're going to see, Violent Giants against,
Strong BJ.
Strong BJ, and you're gonna be like, oh wow, that's amazing. You're gonna see Shingo and Daniel Bryan for the title, and you're gonna be like, wow. You're gonna see Suzuki and Nick Gage in an exploding time bomb death match from hell, and you're gonna be like, wow, I'd really like to see that. And then Hiromu and El Idolo, and it's gonna be a pretty easy choice to make.
Yeah, and we come out looking pretty ahead because we booked our main event with Shingo winning our world title right before he actually won the IWGP World Heavyweight title. So I mean, we're just ahead, man. The card, like you mentioned, is stacked. We got everything you want. We got your Puro. We have a fatal 4-way ladder match. You got some lucha, strong style death matches. You want it. The Keeping It
Joshi.
Strong. Yeah, we got Joshi, Tam Nakano, Julia running it back from their epic match earlier this year. This time it's hair versus career.
There's a shoot style match.
Yeah.
Pure rules match. There's a 4-way ladder match. So, I mean, like, you're not going to see a better card than that. So go ahead and send us the support. Make sure that we are 3 years running champions in the Social Suplex Fantasy Draft 2021.
Yep, and that's socialsuplex.com/vote. I'll put the link in the description. Guys, go out there and show support for what we're doing here in the network. Well, let's jump in now into New Japan for Kizuna Road. To open up, we have a question from user Viking Pain. He says, with Godzilla vs. Kong sponsoring Kizuna Road, why aren't they booking the Unchained Gorilla, Togi Makabe, against the Dragon, Shingo Takagi?
Because that man's washed. That's why.
That man, when's the last time that man Togi Makabe was in the ring?
Oh, man.
I feel like it's been a hot minute.
I don't know. I'm going to cage match. I'll take a look. I feel like they're like, Togi, you ready to wrestle? And he's like, not today.
I'm still quarantining, brother.
Last time he wrestled, January 28th of 2021. He was in a tag match with Yuya Uemura in a losing effort against Tiger Mask and Yuji Nagata on the road to New Beginning. So in this year, he's had 5 matches.
And I'm sure he's taken like one bump minimum, if at all, in all 5 of those matches.
Hey, man, he takes bumps in training, once a week. So those add up,
Yeah, he was on a Japanese commentary for the June 15th Kizuna Road show. So I think that man's just taking it easy right now.
In all fairness, you take a look at 2020. He had a pretty busy 2020. So, I mean, who knows why he hasn't been in. But, yeah, we haven't seen him since January.
Yeah. He had taken time off to do that reality show thing or some movie or something he was doing. I think it was a movie. So, maybe he's Hollywood now and he's only, only doing commentary.
You're saying he's Dave Bautista?
Yeah.
He's going to show up in, like a Japanese Marvel version of like Guardians of the Galaxy, shit like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Well, let's talk about the first Kizuna Road show here, June 14th from Monday. Of course, we have the Young Lion Gauntlet Trial Series going on here. So this show opened up with Minoru Suzuki defeating Yuya Uemura, 13 minutes, 55 seconds. Uemura finally getting his one-on-one match with Suzuki.
Do you think he regretted it?
He probably did, because Suzuki whooped his ass in this match.
Yeah, this wasn't like the glorious Young Lions match that I was like sort of expecting. Like this was a lesson in pain.
Right. Normally these Young Lions, you go back and forth. They get that hope spot. They get some offense. They get the veteran reeling. Not in this match. Like this was like 95% Suzuki just beating the crap out of this dude.
Yeah. Yeah, he beat the crap out of him pretty bad.
Yeah. The months and months of, Uemura trying to be a man, getting in Suzuki's face. Well, it all blew up here on this evening.
Yeah, and and the funny thing too is like they got like just under 14 minutes, so it wasn't even like a quick little like 6-7 minute squash and get him out of there. Like this is a prolonged, sadistic,
right?
Picking apart, very methodical.
Gonna make you feel it.
Suzuki was the cerebral assassin in there,
Yeah, real man match for Uemura.
But yeah, definitely worth checking out, and a great way to kind of kick off the what is it, 5-match series for him?
Yep. Mm-hmm. So yeah, towards the end here, yeah, he does do some flash pins, but eventually gets knocked out by a drop kick. Suzuki then gets a half crab on, sits down on it, get the verbal submission. Suzuki gets the win here.
Old school.
Then the second match of the evening, we have Yota Tsuji's first match in his Gauntlet Trial series as he faced off against his idol, the ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Tanahashi defeated Tsuji 13 minutes and 36 seconds.
This is good for Tanahashi to get back in the win column, get him back on a roll. Ever since he dropped the Never title, he's been looking for a big win, and this was a good way to start off his return to form as he's getting ready to go after the world title.
Yeah. Actually, I think they are planting seeds. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I think they're planting seeds for the potential world title match. But yeah.
Oh, the company's in trouble. It's time to have Tanahashi challenge for the title. That's crazy. Never done that before.
Yeah, I thought Tsuji looked great in this match. Unlike the first match where it was like a clobbering, Tsuji got a lot of offense in here. I saw a lot of new moves, and Tsuji targeting the knee of the ace. We've seen for years now, Tsuji just being at ringside, watching every Tanahashi match, pounding the mat, cheering the ace on, and he knows the weakness. He went after the knee, and there was one point in the match where he kind of had some regret on his face after doing a knee breaker to Tanahashi.
Yeah, I mean, that's just that's exploitative, going after the weakness, like you said, just sitting at ringside. I'm sure, there've been times after matches Tanahashi's asked him to ice down various ligaments, body parts, and injured areas, and this man's like, one day, one day, it's not going to be an ice pack. It's going to be a dragon screw. Hold one of these. Right.
But I mean, this man Tsuji, he busted out a gory stretch in this match. He did the big swing, the Mount Tsuji. He tried for a top rope Mount Tsuji body splash, but failed to connect with Tanahashi.
Yeah, this felt sort of like, I mean, it was the second match of the night, but it almost felt like they wrestled sort of like a main event style almost to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Kind of this is the most we've ever seen from Tsuji. I'm not saying it's his greatest performance ever, because he's had some really fantastic ones, but this was the most complete we've ever seen him as a performer in terms of what they've allowed him to showcase.
Yeah, and great storytelling throughout until we get to the end here. Tanahashi does a ripcord sling blade, gets a near fall, then slaps on the cloverleaf hold, and Tsuji is forced to tap out. Another submission win for a veteran here as Tanahashi defeats Tsuji.
Yeah, you got to make these young lions pay for it,
Make them work.
But yeah, that one was good. Which between these two, did you prefer the Suzuki or the Tanahashi?
I preferred the Tanahashi match just because it was a little bit more back and forth. We saw a lot of new stuff from Tsuji. He had some control periods in there. Like you mentioned, he was very well-rounded in this match. I thought I saw great emotion, great selling.
I agree, but I think I was a little partial to the hard-hitting nature of the first match because that was so violent,
Yeah. Suzuki was trying to get a strong style fight of the year just by beating the crap out of you more.
I mean, that could be a candidate with the year we've had.
Yeah. So that was the first two trial matches there. Then the rest of the card, we had some multi-man action here. We kind of run through these and just mention some highlights here. So third match, we had the Chaos team of Hiroki Goto, Tomohiro Ishii, Toru Yano, and Yoshihashi defeating the Bullet Club team of Dick Togo, Evil Jado, and Yujiro Takahashi. Of course, this is to preview the Never six-man title match that's coming next week as Goto, Ishii, and Yano will defend against Dick Togo, Evil, and Yujiro Takahashi. And then
I don't have much to add there.
Yeah, neither do I. Then moving on, semi-main event, we had the Chaos team of Kazuchika Okada, Sho, and Yo defeating the Bullet Club team of El Phantasmo, Gato, and Taiji Ishimori. This is to preview the upcoming IWGP Junior Tag Team title match that's coming, with Roppongi 3K defending against the Bullet Club Juniors here. Of course, with Gato on the Bullet Club side, he took the fall there.
He's got to lose.
Yes. Chaos Team gets the win here. And ELP just continues to make the back scratch more and more ridiculous with the flips and the push-ups and the duck walks in between the back scratch. It's hilarious.
Yeah. It's getting over with me as well.
Then the main event of the evening, we had LIJ, Bushi, Sanada, Shingo, and Naito defeating the Suzuki-gun team of El Desperado, Taichi, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Zack Sabre Jr. This is to preview the upcoming IWGP Tag Team title match for Sanada and Naito. They're making their campaign to challenge for the tag titles against Dangerous Tekkers.
How do you feel about fanboy Naito and Sanada fanboying for Taichi?
I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, that's just funny.
Getting the autograph from Taichi.
Yeah, they've been making some pretty funny comments in the in like their interviews and the backstage comments and everything like that. So yeah, I think it's pretty funny. It's weird because this isn't really. It doesn't feel like a heat-filled feud. It almost feels like I don't know, like a love-hate sort of situation, you know?
Yeah. Well,
it's weird.
It's almost kind of similar to some of the Naito Taichi rivalry, where they kind of had that kind of love-hate thing going on until it got a little bit more serious closer to the match.
Yeah, usually with them it gets pretty serious, and then you think back on Naito and Zack Sabre's history with one another. There's no love lost there. And then obviously Sanada and Sabre sort of had like a very storied thing as well. But for the time being, they're kind of going like the lighthearted route a little bit, almost like in a sense, they're sort of like belittling them, but also it's sort of like a camaraderie sort of thing. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost kind of like, it's kind of a playful, like we're both like tweener, babyface-ish teams, and we're just kind of, having fun.
Remember when freaking Naito and Jay White had that weird feud the first time for the IC belt?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me, some of the shenanigans remind me of that a little bit.
Yeah. I'm sure these guys are just trying to find ways to entertain themselves in this huge stretch of Korakuen shows that we're getting here for this Kizuna Road tour.
Yeah, and the rest of us as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so the LIJ team gets the win here. Shingo puts away Kanemaru to get the win here. And on the English, Kevin Kelly did a great job of bringing back the Shingo Kanemaru match from Super Juniors and kind of the rivalry there, and how Kanemaru pushed Shingo during that tournament with the work on the knee here. But also, Shingo's a heavyweight now, world champ now, was able to take out Kanemaru, get the win here for the LIJ team. We did have two questions here. First from Reddit user Germanus. He says, on night one of Kizuna Road, in his post-match comment, Shingo said that his match with Ibushi needs the biggest stage. That sounds like the postponed Wrestle Grand Slam in Tokyo Dome to me. What say you?
I thought he meant New Japan World is what I thought he meant. It needed to be featured on New Japan World as the big stage. Yeah.
I was thinking maybe he meant TNT. They need
that's not
need to fly them boys over and get on cable.
No one in Japan would see it. No, I agree. I think it sounds like he probably is alluding to one of those dome shows, which would make sense to me. So,
yeah, and we've kind of heard some speculation that show would probably be coming sometime late in the summer, before G1 would happen, and they're definitely planning to at least do the Tokyo Dome show. So that makes a ton of sense. I just don't know if you want to wait until potentially August to do that title match.
Man, poor Ibushi. He's going to lose in the Dome, and then he's not going to win the G1. This man's done. He's cooked. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, I mean, any other speculation? I think there's, unless it's what we've got Kizuna Road and Summer Struggle coming up. I mean,
right, and there's a couple big shows on the Summer Struggle tour. One in Nagoya. I think there's like 2 in Osaka. I forget the exact schedule. It's like 3 or 4 big shows that are coming up on the Summer Struggle that I would think you would do at least one IWGP World Title match on one of those shows.
Well, we will figure that out shortly. Maybe he's lobbying that it needs to be on one of the bigger shows.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there.
Rambo and Slam Pig asked us, which wrestler on the current NJPW roster would benefit the most from a new finishing move? He votes for Sonata.
Yeah, I mean, Sonata is a top candidate there. We've talked about it over and over again about the skull end and how it's how loose it looks, and
it's not just that. I mean, he's got the skull end, and then he's got the
TKO.
Yeah, I guess the TKO is sort of like a
Young Lion finish when he beats Young Lions.
Yeah, that's one of his signature moves. But the big one is the Muda Moonsault.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But yeah, I think he's a really great candidate for someone that could really use a new finish. Kind of looking at the roster that they have right now, I'm like, I think I'd be hard pressed to argue against that answer.
Yeah, I know we've talked about Yoshihashi's butterfly lock, but he's done a great job on kind of modifying that and adding the Kimura element to the butterfly lock, which actually makes the whole so much better and looks pretty cool. I'm
looking through the roster because I didn't know this question was coming. I'm just trying to think like, who's someone that might benefit from a new finish?
Yeah.
Maybe Evil. Not that there's anything wrong with Everything is Evil. I mean, he usually does what? It's a STO, right?
Yeah, it's like a spin out STO, yeah.
And it's fine, and there is nothing wrong with it. I just feel like that man's kind of cooked, and he was the IWGP champion last year. He might want to.
No, he wasn't. We're retconning that. He's still a part of LIJ. He's just a little confused right now. That title reign never happened.
Sometimes you need something to freshen you up a bit. Nothing freshens up a guy better than debuting a new finish.
Yeah.
That might be something. I don't know.
Yeah, because I've always liked the Darkness Fall, that kind of sit out slam thing that he does. I always like that better than the Everything is Evil. But yeah. If he ever does get back in a singles role again or challenges for a title, I definitely think they need to give him a new finish.
Yeah. I mean, the only problem with that, though, is once you have a signature, it's really hard to take your signature and elevate it up to your finish after it's been established. I mean, the only person I could think of that ever did that successfully in my memory, I'm sure there's other examples, but the one that comes to mind is Shawn Michaels when he... because he used to have that teardrop suplex was his finish for a long time.
Yeah.
And then he always did the super kick as just a signature move. And then if you notice, the big difference of how he was able to get that over was tuning up the band.
Right. Add some theatrics to it.
Yeah, I think if you add some theatrics to a move that was your signature, you can maybe get it over, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I'm looking at the rest of maybe David Finlay
with the Prima Nocta, that slice bread that he does, slice bread stunner thing.
It's fine, but I feel like he's on the cusp right now. He might be someone that could really benefit from having a new finisher. Maybe even maybe Yoshihashi. I think Sonata's the right answer though, probably.
How do you feel about Bushi's MX at the top rope? Or I guess the mid rope code breaker.
There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's a situational move. The thing is, it just depends. Do you want to push Bushi or not? I think Bushi's good, but I'm not crazy about Bushi. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Juice. Juice could really use some sprucing up.
Yeah, because he's got the Pulp Friction, which is the unprettier, aka kill switch.
He's had it for a long time, and I feel like it's one of those moves that it's a good move. People reverse it a lot. But if he had something like, if they wanted to like re-establish him, give him a new big finish, that might be a good idea.
Yeah, whenever he comes back, especially he might be back maybe for like maybe G1, and give him like a hot run in there with a new finish would be cool.
My whole thing is if they were gonna give me a new finish, I wouldn't want a new finish unless I knew like I'm gonna be like tip top guy.
Right. Yeah, what's the point of debuting a new finish if you're just gonna kind of be in the same spot?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's move on now to the June 15th show. Happened this morning from Corkin Hall. We had match number 2 in the Gauntlet Trial Series for Yumura and Tsuji. So once again, Yumura opened up the show. This time, he was facing the submission master, one half of the tag champs, Zack Sabre Jr. And this match was 12 minutes, 34 seconds. What do you think about this one?
This one was very good. I think with Yuya, what we're kind of seeing is that he's just like, he's ready, you know? Like, he's got all the tools. We've been saying it for a while, but like, he's shown it, you know, in Best of Super Juniors. He's showcasing it here in this 5-match series. The match with Zack, very, very different from the match he had the day prior. And we can see that he's able to work a technical style. He's able to tell, you know, compelling stories, whether he's shown as being a competent competitor or, you know, babyface in peril. He pretty much can do it all. And there was a few moments where I kind of think in kayfabe, Zack was surprised and impressed with Yumura here.
Yeah, I would say that as well, too. There's some moments where Yumura kind of fired up and just had a lot of great reversal, great technical wrestling. There was one point where Yumura got him in the European clutch for a great near fall and was just kind of really, you know, hanging in there with Sabre.
Yeah, and hats off to Zack for being pretty generous in that sense as well, obviously.
Right.
It kind of reminded me of like a miniature version of what we got with the Gabe Kidd Zack Sabre match during the New Japan Cup a little bit.
Right, and we've seen in the past, too, when Zack is facing off against guys that he's more technically sound, he just kind of eats them up and or totally just, you know, overpower them and kind of control the match. And so, yeah, definitely made Yumura look great here.
Yeah, definitely. But once again, Yuya does not have the stones to get the job done on the big stage. Goes 0-2. Which is like, man, that's just I don't know what's going to happen here.
Yeah, Sabre got him in the double arm bar here, get the submission victory.
Mm-hmm. The next matchup we had the other half of Dangerous Tekkers, Tai Chi, as he took on and defeated Yota Tsuji, 14 minutes and 14 seconds.
Yeah, again, another really good matchup here, another good showing from Tsuji. Again, this one kind of another not as hard hitting as Suzuki and Yumura from the day previous, but this was pretty hard hitting here with Tai Chi obviously laying in the kicks and the strikes here. But you know, Tsuji wasn't enough for Tai Chi to rip the pants off here.
Yes, yeah, he didn't even needed to really. where Zack was giving, Tai Chi was a little bit less so.
Yeah, but Tsuji did some cool stuff here. Some cool arm drags that Tsuji did, especially for like a guy his size, and seeing some of the cool stuff that he was doing with those arm drags. Yeah, but
some lucha.
Yeah, but yeah, Tai Chi kind of.
I just imagine him like doing like a Matt Jackson or Nick Jackson, like lucha libre,
lucha libre. Do it. Who knows? Maybe Tsuji's angling to go to CMLL for his excursion.
Well, remember he was actually.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, he did. Yeah, forgot about that. Yeah.
But I don't know if you want to go to Mexico right now.
Yeah.
Well, plus, like, why would he limit himself to CMLL when the big show in town is Federation, right?
Now
right?
That's cooked.
Oh, wait, what? What do you mean? What do you mean it's cooked?
You saw the news.
Federation's not happening. That's crazy. It's almost as if someone on this show, you know, told everybody that shit was never, ever, ever, ever going to happen. And the other one of us was like, well, we'll see.
Hey, man, I was just trying to see Lucha Bros versus Bandito and Dragon Lee, okay?
Oh God, that was never gonna happen.
That's all I wanted, man.
Well, maybe one day we'll see Suji there in Arena, Mexico. But yeah, Taichi gets the big win here.
Yeah, Axe Bomber, dangerous backdrop driver, dropping Suji on his head until eventually hits the thrust kick. 1, 2, 3, gets the win. Post match, kind of smacking Suji around as well. So,
dude, Taichi came from the school where Kawada just beat the shit out of him all the time. So he's paying it back.
Yeah, paying it forward to the next generation.
Yeah. But that's going to bring us to the rest of the show. 6-man tag team match. Sho, Toriano, and Yo from Chaos. They defeated the Bullet Club team of El Phantasmo, Jado, and Taiji Ishimori. So Jado taking the fall here. Anything that you thought about this one?
Now, fine little match. Some kind of funny stuff there with Yano and Jado in the middle, with kind of dueling with the turnbuckle pad and the kendo stick.
I personally was super low on this match. I kind of felt like it was almost a bit of a waste of time, to be honest.
Yeah, I kind of wish this would have opened because the two Young Lion matches blew this out of the water as far as in-ring work.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, they're blowing most of the rest of the show away for me, anyways.
Yeah.
After that, we had the Chaos team of Goto, Okada, Tomohiro Ishii, and Yoshihashi defeating the Bullet Club team of Dick Togo, Evil, Gato, and Yujiro Takahashi. One thing we forgot to mention, and it was true on this day as well as the day before, the interactions between Tomohiro Ishii and Dick Togo are pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah, they have been. Like the strike exchanges that they've been doing, it's been getting real heated there. I haven't watched all the backstage comments yet, but I know one popped up with Ishii, like wanting to get, run it with Dick Togo.
Yeah, he was saying he's going to bring out the real Dick.
Yeah.
That's a literal thing that he said.
Yeah.
But
and post match, he grabbed the garrote wire away from him and was chasing him with it.
I think the reports that there's some heat in the backstage. Someone put out a hit on that man. Ishii's like, I'll cash in.
Yes. The whole time I was thinking, this is what happens when the creator doesn't put you in a title match, and Ishii just taking that on that man. Yeah,
Ishii's taking out his frustrations. He's like, Evil. You put over Evil.
Oh man. So then that brings us to the the main event here with LIJ, Bushi, Sanada, Shingo, and Naito defeating Tanahashi, Tenzan, Kota Ibushi, and Master Wato. 18 minutes.
Who's Kabushi?
I combined his name there.
Kabushi. Yo, one of the funniest things is Rich. What up, Rich? His wife. She's not a big wrestling fan, but he showed her that clip of Harley Race when he's trying the hit on Ric Flair, and he's in that clip he's like Kabuki. And when you're hanging out with them, every once in a while she'll do it, and it's really funny.
Dude, speaking of Ric Flair, my girlfriend, she loves the way Ric Flair sells, and loves when he does kind of the begging off thing, on his knees, and no.
Wait, what Ric Flair has she been watching?
Well, apparently, I guess people, some family, growing up, used to watch wrestling, and she would see Flair. And,
oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
I thought you were making her watch him and Ron Garvin or some shit.
No, we were watching because we were waiting to watch Dynamite, and then she was talking about Ric Flair and how much she loves his selling, how over top it is. And so we started watching a bunch of Ric Flair stuff. We were watching Flair and Dusty, the match where it stopped with a ref stoppage because Dusty was bleeding too much.
Starcade 84.
Yeah. And so
I'm pretty sure that's Starcade 84. Yeah.
Watching all these different Flair matches and clips and stuff like that. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that match is not that great actually, but yeah, I enjoyed the stuff with him and Dusty. That's funny. Literally all day, like every day, I could just watch Ric Flair all day.
Yeah, he's a man.
But, yeah, as a kid, I did not like Ric Flair. I thought Ric Flair sucked as a kid.
I really don't remember having strong feelings about Ric Flair as a kid.
Well, see, growing up, I had this VHS tape of it was a two-part VHS tape of the best of Starrcade 83 to 87. I've talked about it on the show before, but like that was like for a lot of tape traders, that's a pretty rare tape. I don't have it anymore, but it was like, I didn't know this. It's worth a lot of money apparently, and it was like one of the holy grails of like, you know, commercial tapes, because it had 3 matches from Starrcade 83 that were never released, and a lot of the matches on it are really good. So I saw a lot of Flair growing up early on, plus just everything else, and like I just thought he sucked. I was like, plus his hair was white, and I was like, dude, these are old matches, and this man was already old in like the 80s. Before I was born, he was old. Like how fucking old is this dude? You know, I thought like, you know, people make fun of like Vince for like ousting the old guys in like 93. There might have been something to it, because I was over Flair in 93. I was like, this guy's fucking old. Like, what is going on? There's no way he's beating Hulk Hogan.
You didn't think Hogan was old with the ball head?
No, of course not. Bro, can an old man rip off his shirt? Can an old man body slam Andre the Giant and have 24-inch pythons? No, bro, that's not an old man. He's, you know, God. That's how I saw wrestling, bro. Some of the best workers I thought sucked. I thought William Regal sucked.
Yeah, I thought that too. I thought Regal sucked.
Oh God, I hated him. I thought he sucked bad. I really didn't like Ted DiBiase. I thought he was boring, and I really didn't like Ric Flair. And those are like 3 of my favorite guys now. And like my favorite wrestler was the Ultimate Warrior. So
yeah, I remember not liking Fit Finlay.
Oh, I didn't like Fit Finlay either. I really didn't like him. I thought he sucked. I had no idea.
Oh man. But main event here, LIJ team gets the win. This time Ibushi was in the match, so we got some interactions with Ibushi and Shingo as we get ready for their upcoming world title match, wherever and wherever that may be. But good little match here to end the show.
Yeah, I mean, we could kind of complain a little bit that we don't have a set date, but you know, recently most of the title matches have had little to no build. So I guess we're on the opposite end of the spectrum, where it seems like we're going to have an endless build to this match. So I wish we could just find like a happy medium where like meaningful interactions happen, you know, in an appropriate amount of time, so that we, you know, have the right amount of anticipation for these big title matches. But, you know, I think I guess I would say I prefer this over, you know, the no build. So I don't know.
So that wraps up that show. We have 2 Kizuna Road shows coming up before the next time we record on Wednesday, or well, I guess it's tomorrow, or by the time you're hearing this today, June 16th. We'll have the 3rd matches in the Gauntlet Trial Series. We'll have Yumura taking on Tanahashi, and
Tanahashi on the road back to redemption.
Yes.
You know, he's 1-0 in his way back. He's gonna attempt to be 2-0 against Young Lions, beating Yuya Uemura. So, you know, go Ace.
And then, you know, Okada's also trying to rebuild here as he takes on Yota Tsuji.
Yeah. You know what this is like? This is like when they told The Rock he needed to go back to the back of the line, face the Brooklyn Brawler, you know?
Yeah, Okada, you lost a Shingo. You got to start from scratch, man.
Yeah. Yota Tsuji's looking to rebound too. So, you know, some tough losses. He's going to take it out on Okada.
Well, Okada, his confidence is shattered, man, after eating that last of the dragon. So I think.
Well, it's about to be completely decimated when he, eats a Boston crab from Yota Tsuji.
Yeah, I think Tsuji might finally hit the top rope, Mount Tsuji splash, and it might be game time for Okada.
He's gonna hit a high fly flow. Wouldn't that shit be funny if Tsuji tried to do that?
That would be hilarious. Like, he should just start doing, like, sling blades, dragon screws, the clover leaf.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, anyways. The rest of the show, we got Tenkoji teaming up with Yuji Nagata, the third generation, or is it fourth generation, taking on the Great Bash heel team, Togi Makabe, Tomoaki Hanma, and Kota Ibushi. Fourth match, we have Suzuki Gun, El Desperado, Taichi, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Zack Sabre Jr. They will be taking on the LIJ team of Bushi, Sanada, Shingo Takagi, and Tetsuya Naito. And then in the main event, we have a 10-man tag team elimination match as the Chaos team of Goto, Sho, Ishii, Yo, and Yoshihashi will be facing the Bullet Club. Dick Togo, El Phantasmo, Evil, Taiji Ishimori, and Yujiro Takahashi. If in 2017 you told me the Bullet Club and then you said Dick Togo, El Phantasmo, Evil, I'd be like, what the fuck?
Oh, man. Somebody hit the random button on the Fire Pro. And then Tuesday, June 22nd.
Where's Cody Hall?
Tuesday, June 22nd, we have Taichi taking on Yuya Uemura and Zack Sabre Jr. taking on Yota Tsuji.
Yeah, Dangerous Tekkers got to do it to him again.
Yeah, this time, it's reversed, and feel like we're going to see similar results in both of those matches. And then the rest of the card will have Okada, Sho, Yo, and Toru Yano taking on the Bullet Club team of ELP, Gedo, Jado, and Taiji Ishimori. Then semi-main event, Tenkoji, Ibushi, and Nagata taking on Los Ingobernables de Japón. And then the main event will have the never openweight 6-man tag team titles on the line as Hiroki Goto, Tomohiro Ishii, and Yoshihashi will defend against the Bullet Club team again of Dick Togo, Evil, and Yujiro Takahashi. Do you think we are getting new champs next week, or will the Chaos team retain?
In this case, it's a really tough one. I mean, I already kind of gave my, assessment a little bit jokingly the other week when I said, it's a win-win because it either sidelines Evil and saddles him with, never 6-man tag team titles, or, we keep up this fantastic never 6-man tag team run with Chaos. So I don't really know. I'm going to say Bullet Club wins, but I'm shooting in the dark here because at this point, I mean, I don't know. It does kind of feel weird to think Dick Togo and Yujiro would be champions, but it's the never title, so.
Right. And I feel like it's one of these kind of wacky trios where it's like you wouldn't expect Dick Togo, Evil, and Yujiro to win, and so that kind of makes me think they're winning. So yeah, I'm gonna throw it out there as well. I'm gonna go Bull Club for title change here. Big upset in Corkin Hall here.
Well, we will see. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I'd like for Chaos to keep winning. The only thing is, I'm kind of hoping Ishii comes off the belts by G1 time. Get that man ready. Get that man ready to win this G1. Get the, get a dome match.
Hey, at this point, anything can happen. I think, we could...
That's not true. Anything can happen other than Ishii winning the IWGP title. But I'd like for him to get a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him beating Shingo in the G1, setting up a fall title defense before the Dome.
I could see him beating Shingo, period. Fuck Shingo. It's all about Ishii.
We had a question here from EMJ Does PR. He wants to know what's our favorite Young Lion versus Senpai match.
I was a little confused by this question. Does he mean in this series or just all time? Like,
I'm not sure. When I read it, I thought maybe he meant all time.
Okay, I don't know if I really have a strong answer for that, to be honest. I mean, do you have an answer?
Not really. I mean, obviously there's been a ton of good Young Lion versus, New Japan Dad versus roster members, but there's not really one that really kind of sticks out. I mean, one that kind of sticks out because it's different was Jon Moxley versus Shota Umino, and just kind of how it was just like a mauling, and it built that relationship between Mox and Shooter.
Yeah, I guess that could be a good answer. There's a match with Kanemoto and Okada that's pretty okay. That exists out there, I believe. There's an Inoki versus Suzuki match from like 88, 89. That's pretty good. Those I don't know. I really loved the Zack Sabre Gabe Kidd match from this past year.
Yeah, that was great.
So I don't know.
Well,
those would be my answers, I guess.
Well, if that, let's move on over to the States here for New Japan Strong on the road to Ignition. The opening match, we had Hikuleo defeating Alex Coughlin, 7 minutes and 7 seconds. Kind of a, Hoss match here, the size of Coughlin and the size of Hikuleo. And these guys were really laying into each other, throwing each other around. But it was the young gun, the young lion of the Bull Club that gets the win here. But post-match, Alex Coughlin, cut this impassioned promo. Doesn't care if he's losing. He wants to take on anybody and anybody. And when we preview next week, we'll see somebody kind of answers his open challenge.
I actually thought of two more. Okada versus Tanahashi. Before Okada left to go on an excursion. That one's really good. And then, yes, the Koji. Yeah, Okada fought Koji Kanemoto at New Japan Alive, November 30th, 2009. That one's on New Japan World, so if you haven't seen it, recommend it. The other one is Jay White and Kenny Omega.
Oh, yeah, I remember watching that match.
That one's very good, so...
Yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that one up. Then second match on Strong, we had Leo Rush and Rocky Romero defeating Clark Connors and the DKC. And big story here, post-match, there was pull apart between Rocky and Clark Connors. So
there's a interesting moment. Clark Connors did a spear to Leo Rush, but speared him in the back, so like a reverse spear.
Yeah, that was dope. Yeah, I kind of like popped when he did that. Looked like he killed that man.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that before.
So yeah, that was pretty cool. And so, yeah, I guess we're setting up a Clark Connors Rocky Romero match down the line here. And then the main event, we had the strong debut of Fred Yehi as he teamed up with Wheeler Yuta, and they defeated Jordan Clearwater and Mysterioso. So continuing the story that we saw a couple weeks ago of Clearwater and Mysterioso, they lost to the West Coast Wrecking Crew of Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs. And once again, they lost to debuting Fred Yehi, and the first time Yehi and Utah teamed on Strong. In a post-match, Mysterioso kind of blaming it all on Jordan Clearwater. But Clearwater's like, hey, man, we're a team. We win together, we lose together.
It's pretty cool how New Japan keeps bringing in, like, the pure wrestlers. The guys that, like, you could easily see, like, being in, like, a blood sport sort of environment. Freddie Yehi is just one of those guys. Like, he's just kind of always existed out there, like, in the Midwest and, that sort of area, Chicago area. People sort of forget, that he exists, but I mean, he's always been great in, Evolve, AEW, PWG, that sort of thing. But it's really cool to kind of see him get a chance, here in New Japan.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, I really love Freddie Yehi's style. I love this finisher. He had the Koji clutch in and then kind of pounded out Jordan Clearwater while having the Koji clutch in with his other hand, and so. Always liked his style, the savage weight, like you mentioned, a lot of great stuff in Evolve, especially, during that kind of catch point era. And so, yeah, he's going to fit in very well in New Japan.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of fitting that like Jordan Clearwater and Mysterioso are they're sort of like the welcome wagon, the dudes that like lose to the incoming like bigger stars, the guys that are already like more established than them. They just like, and I would feel bad about it, but like I don't really like Jordan Clearwater, so it's fine.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this is probably going to lead to a heel turn for him, and we'll see some kind of big match of him and Mysterioso.
Next week in big news, we have the debut of the Impact X Division champion Josh Alexander, as he will be taking on Alex Coughlin. Alex Coughlin put out an open challenge, and the challenge was answered by Josh Alexander. So that's a big deal. Plus, Josh Alexander just coming off that, very much lauded and heralded 60-minute Ironman match with TJP over the X Division title. That is available, I think, on YouTube, right?
Yep, it's on the Impact YouTube channel. Yep.
Yeah, they uploaded it, so that's cool. Also, Barrett Brown and Bateman will be taking on Adrian Quest and Fred Rosser. And in the main event, Satoshi Kojima against Jared Kratos, Beefy Boy match.
Yeah. Both those matches were set up from the previous week. So Barrett Brown and Bateman, we saw Bateman help Barrett Brown beat Adrian Quest, and then Fred Rosser telling Adrian that he would have his back, so we got that set up there. And then we saw the Team Filthy against Kojima and Fredericks, and the beef that Kojima and Kratos had there, setting up this big main event match here for Kojima on Strong. Really looking forward to that. That should be nice little hoss match, a little hard-hitting action there. And then on June 25th, it was announced we have our next Strong openweight title match. The champion, Filthy Tom Lawler, will defend against the Alpha Wolf, Carl Fredericks. What do you think about this upcoming title match?
Very excited for it. I don't know really what to expect, but I'm very excited for it for sure.
Yeah, I think it should be a great matchup, great test and great spotlight for Fredericks to be in there with somebody like Tom Lawler, being this main event title match. Personally, if it was me, I would kind of like to see Lawler retain, maybe rack up a few more defenses. Seems like he's going to be defending the belt at least once a month. So I would like to at least see him get maybe like 5 or 6 defenses under his belt, kind of build him up as a dominant champion, and then get somebody over by beating the dominant champion.
Yeah, it feels a little too soon to see a title change, especially since I feel like they just started really building up Carl Fredericks to be like in contention. But you never know. I mean, I don't really know what the current contracted status of Filthy even is, so that might be something to kind of consider. But overall, this is probably like the first really truly big showcase match for Carl Fredericks. I mean, the only other event that comes to mind was like when he first had that match with Kenta.
Right.
So this is gonna be a big test for him, win, lose, or draw. But I personally don't think he's ready to be the standard bearer, the guy that carries that. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they see something that we haven't seen, and they'll give him the chance to showcase it. Either way, I think this is going to be very good.
Yeah, and so far, with these strong title matches, they're two really credible guys that it can go either way. So it's pretty exciting to kind of watch these matches and kind of be on the edge of your seats, like who's actually going to walk out with a championship. So.
Yeah, because I mean, anything could really happen. There's not a lot of precedent here, so we don't know exactly what to expect, and we don't know exactly long term what this project is even going to be. So it's hard to have any sort of like preconceived notions,
Yeah. Well, speaking of kind of what the project is going to be, we have some questions here. First from Ready to Whiz Factor. He says, given the new talent showing up on Strong and the recent contract signings of wrestlers like Fred Rosser and Leo Rush prior to his retirement, what is the long-term goal for New Japan of America?
Yeah, that's something I can't really answer. I mean, do you have any thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of seen the interviews from Obari. It seemed like Strong also just kind of started off as a, something for the guys in town to do in the pandemic, not being able to go over to Japan. but it seems like, they're kind of being invested in Strong. Obara says he wants to bring Strong to Japan. And so I think eventually we're going to see this thing maybe get some fans, do some more touring, and I think it's going to play a more crucial part in the Western expansion.
Yeah, and I mean, it kind of just depends. I mean, everything that happened with the pandemic, it's really hard to say what their long-term plans even are, but, assuming that some of those same goals and endpoints are retained, I'm assuming at some point they're still hoping to run live tours. They're still hoping to, do live taping of shows and that sort of thing. So, I mean, it kind of remains to be seen. But some of the, like you mentioned, some of the recent signings that they've made, give me reason to believe that they, have some optimistic viewpoints when it comes to this project.
Yeah. And there's more to his question here. He says, is Strong meant to be a placeholder show for something more ambitious in the future? How much of a role will Japanese talent play in the American shows and vice versa? Could previous efforts like Dragon Gate USA give us clues as to how this Western push will work out?
Well, we've kind of alluded to that when we first heard about, New Japan of USA branch sort of starting up. And hopefully it's not really something akin to Dragon Gate USA, because that didn't turn out so well.
Yeah.
Long term. But with that being said, I mean, it could be a placeholder. I mean, I could see a situation where, this was something that was a pandemic era project, and then they kind of expand it a bit once crowds become an available option. And maybe that's something that they are hoping to potentially pitch to television companies, because the one thing that really matters here, I mean, it's dollars and cents. And at the end of the day, if this is something that they plan to do anything with, they need TV.
Right. And like you mentioned, I think it was last week, a couple weeks ago, with Strong, it's kind of a money loser right now, because obviously there's no fans. They're not getting any live revenue from that right now. And so they're not making any money with Strong. So you definitely need, TVD will help, and getting fans paying for the show will help as well.
Yeah, agreed.
Which leads to our next question from Oscar Rooney. He says, June 15th, Cali is reopening. Should we expect Strong to have an audience for the next set of tapings?
I think it's a possibility. I wouldn't say I expect it, because who knows? They might have already taped. But right. I think it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, I'm not sure what, the Strong tapings, they're kept very, under the rug there. They're very secretive of when those tapings are happening. So I'm not sure when even the next set of tapings are, or how many they have in the can, but hopefully whenever they do film again, it's to a point where they can get fans back in the building. Because honestly, I think Strong is one of the best hours of wrestling that's going right now. And I think having a live crowd there, I'm not sure how much fans can fit in that arena there, maybe 300, 500 fans, I think would be great to help the environment of that show.
Yeah, I agree.
Nobody builds 5G like Verizon builds 5G, because we're the engineers who built the most reliable network in America. And the more you do with 5G, the more building it right matters. The more your network matters. The more Verizon engineers going the extra mile matters. It's us pushing us. It's Verizon versus Verizon. 5G built right from America's most reliable network. Most reliable based on rankings from RootMetrics second half 2020 U.S. report of 3 mobile networks. Results may vary. Award is not an endorsement. Lowe's knows you work hard to take on the toughest jobs. So why not treat yourself with savings on the top pro tools that work as hard as you do? Head into Lowe's today for pro summer savings and get up to 30% off select tools and accessories. Lowe's is the home for great values on the most trusted brands like DeWalt, Bosch, and Metabo HPT. Shop in-store or on Lowes.com. Lowe's, the new home for pros. While supplies last, valid through 7/7, U.S. only.
And then Dom Homie 101 asks, thoughts on Josh Alexander appearing on an upcoming episode of New Japan Strong?
I'm very excited about it. I've always really liked Josh Alexander. Really like his style, hard hitting, very technical. Obviously there's amateur influence there, and was a big fan of the North. I've heard the joke that Voices Wrestling made on their Twitter, and I've always thought it was a pretty apt comparison. They said the North wrestles the way that FTR claims they wrestle. And I've always found that to be pretty true. But yeah, I think he's looked really good and really motivated in this current X Division run from what I've seen. And, we'll see what this means. I mean, it's kind of exciting, just another crossover from this whole Impact, sort of talent trade working relation, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, big fan of the walking weapon, Josh Alexander. Like you, I loved him teaming up with Ethan Page as the North, stuff that did an impact on the independents, and I've seen a couple of his other independent stuff in the singles run. Yeah, really technical. Anybody that wears a singlet kind of gets over with me instantly due to my amateur background. And so, yeah, Josh Alexander, he's a real deal. I watched the Iron Man that he had with TJP this weekend. Awesome matchup, definitely. Like we mentioned, go out and check that out on the Impact YouTube channel here. And I think he's a guy that I would love to see them maybe kind of bring in more often. If we're going to have this kind of revolving door of Impact guys coming in, why not have Josh Alexander be a guy that comes in and does some dates for you?
Absolutely.
So we have a few news items here, then several questions, and then we can get into the recommended match of the week. So first thing here, like I mentioned during Strong, Fred Rosser announced that he's signed an exclusive agreement with New Japan. Rosser confirmed on his Twitter yesterday afternoon, "I'm excited to officially announce I've signed with NJPW. All I can say moving forward is don't ever let your dreams just be dreams, because as long as you're patient and believe in your dreams, anything is possible. Patience is a talent." Young boy, thoughts on Mr. No Days Off, Fred Rosser, being an official NJPW roster member now?
Well, it kind of speaks to the questions that we were asked earlier about the aspirations of, Strong and the New Japan of America sort of thing. Do I think this means that Fred Rosser could potentially be coming over to New Japan proper? Yes, I do, but I don't know how that will work out, or, what role he'll really facilitate or anything like that. But he's already got a foothold here in the USA branch of New Japan, and so that kind of tells me that I'm not discounting that he might end up working in Japan, but it tells me that if they are planning some sort of expansion, broadening the project, then he'll probably be a key element of that.
Yeah, and I've thought he's been a really good part of Strong thus far. I think he's kind of been breaking out with the WWE style and doing a little bit more of the New Japan style in his recent outings. And so I think the more he wrestles there, he's going to continue to improve, especially when he gets to Japan and gets to wrestle, guys like Tanahashi and Ishii, Okada and Suzuki and all those guys. It's going to be a great learning experience for him.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, we've already kind of seen him make some strides so far. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not personally the biggest fan, but I mean, it'd be hard to deny that he's not, a very good wrestler. And, people seem to be taking a liking to him in this current run. And, this might help him to, to an even greater extent assimilate into the, New Japan style.
Yeah. And last week we kind of touched on this news a little bit because it broke as we were recording, but we can touch on it just one more time here with Lio Rush announcing that he's retiring from pro wrestling. Lio Rush, only 26 years old, wrote on his Instagram that he had separated his AC joint during his appearance at AEW Double or Nothing, where he was the Joker in the Casino Battle Royal. And because of that, it's given him time to think about what to do in his life and leading to his decision to retire. Once he's healed, he did say he will be making final appearances for NJPW, where he is currently signed to.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing there. I don't know exactly what that means. I'm guessing he has some more dates that he has to fulfill. But I mean, who knows what that means? Let's just say hypothetically, we're just kind of talking here. What if he's got a year left on his contract, and he's like, I got to fill out the rest of my dates. And it's like a year. And he's like, I'm retiring. but I'm going to be around for the next year, that would seem kind of weird. So I'm guessing, is there a chance that these signed contracts that like him and Fred Rosser and other guys are signing with New Japan, maybe they're short-term deals, like, 3 months, 3 sets of taping, something like that?
Yeah.
Could that be a possibility?
Yeah, I think that they could potentially do like short-term deals for these U.S. guys, especially since they haven't been able to get any of them over into Japan. They don't even know when that could happen. Maybe they want to do short contracts in case those guys maybe want to do other stuff in the States. But there's been a lot of rumor and speculation that Rush was kind of penciled in to be a big part of the junior division once the boards opened up, and that he would go over, do Best of Super Juniors, be a top challenger for the championship, and so. Maybe he did have a longer deal. It's obviously we don't know, but I do think it is kind of interesting that he is going to have to make some more appearances, and I'm wondering, if that's going to give him the kind of itch again, and maybe be like he wrestles these few matches, and he's like, all right, you know what, that was a freak accident that happened at Double or Nothing. I can actually keep doing this, and then decide that he wants to continue wrestling. Yeah,
it's hard to really know how that's completely going to turn out, but yeah, I think that it's fair to think that that's a possibility.
Yeah, so we'll keep our eyes out on Lio Rush, see what happens here, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back to wrestle again. He's only 26 years old, so we'll see what happens there. Other news, Satoshi Kojima, he was defeated by Joe Doring on Impact's Against All Odds on Saturday. This coming up week on Impact, Kojima will be taking on Rhino, so continuing his feud there by Violence by Design. Renee Paquette and the IWGP US champ Jon Moxley welcomed their first child into the world this week, so congrats to Mox and Renee Young there. Then the Monday free match of the week, Ryusuke Taguchi, Juice Robinson, and Kushida taking on Sonata, Evil, and Bushi, which is kind of a random match there for them to pick for a free match of the week here. So let's roll into these listener questions here. So first from Viking Pain, his series of questions here. It says first, Okada said in his interview that the double titles was the second biggest mistake the company has ever made. I was curious, what do you guys think was the first?
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. I don't know if maybe, what did you think he was alluding to?
Maybe Inokiism?
That's what I was thinking too. Like, that's the only thing that kind of makes sense to me. But in that sense, you'd sort of have to roll everything into one, umbrella. Like the whole concept of Inokiism, I suppose.
Right. Yeah, I can't think of anything else that, like, one other incident that he could have been talking about.
Yeah, I can't either. So I don't know. That's where my mind went.
Yeah. Second question here says, do you guys think that Tanahashi would ever win the world title? I think that even though he's at the tail end of his career, sooner or later he'll win the belt just for it to have his name in its new lineage.
That is an interesting thought. My whole thinking is, once he beat Kenny Omega, that was sort of his like last run title run. But this is a new lineage and it's kind of a new goal. Could there be a story later on where he wins this belt one last time? I think it's possible, but if I was betting, I would say probably not.
Yeah,
unless like it's necessary.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to end up winning the world title. We've kind of seen with the first champions, I feel they're trying to create this kind of new generation and new kind of top guys to push forward in this new kind of era they're in. And obviously Tanahashi is still a top star. He is the ace, and he saved New Japan during some very tough times, but I don't think he's going to win the belt. I think he will definitely be a title challenger. Like you mentioned, there could be the story of him kind of chasing this world title, which actually I forgot to mention in one of the multi-man matches where he was on the opposite side of LIJ. There was a moment there where he was going to hit the sling blade on Shingo, but Ibushi asked for the tag, and he was kind of fighting whether or not he wanted to tag Ibushi in. Eventually he did tag Ibushi in, but he really wanted to hit that sling blade on Shingo. So they could be potentially setting up if Shingo defeats Ibushi, they could do a Shingo Tanahashi match, since Tanahashi did beat Shingo earlier in the year. But yeah, I don't think the Ace is going to end up winning the world title.
Yeah, and I think they've kind of lucked their way into that situation by having Shingo win, because it does create, the most recent two major guys to have beaten him were Ospreay and Tanahashi. So you have ready-made challengers right there, and that's an easy story to tell, and it's something that would draw, especially considering how well received the first Tanahashi match was. So
yeah, I love that match. So I would definitely be down for a Shingo Tanahashi rematch, especially for the world title here. But yeah, I think the Ace he's going to chase, and I think it's going to be one of those situations where he just doesn't capture the title. His next question here, he says, Chris brought up something last week that was rather interesting. What if Okada wasn't going to win at all, like we all assumed, and Ospreay retained? Well, would surely be facing Ibushi again, and let's say Ibushi Ospreay was the original plan after 2 Wrestle Grand Slam shows after all, with Ibushi beating Ospreay for the title at the next big show. Now, if Ospreay injured and Shingo as champ, do you guys think Shingo would be the one to drop the belt back to Ibushi instead? And how much of a buzzkill would that be for the product? So they did something similar with Tanahashi beating the departing Omega for the heavyweight title, only to drop it to Jay a month later, and Jay dropping it to Okada at MSG. I recall the rumor booking plan was for Omega to retain against Tanahashi and carry the belt to MSG, where he would drop it to Okada.
Okay. Well, I think this is an interesting question, but I think it almost like presupposes too many things, So, I mean, let's just say, for instance, I last week said I thought Okada was going to beat Will. Let's just say Chris was accurate in stating that maybe Will was going to beat Okada. Well, then the next thing that you bring up is you said surely, he was going to fight Ibushi next, but that's something we don't actually know. I mean, I think it's already a stretch to assume that Ospreay was going to retain. But, keep in mind, just prior to the cancellation of those 2 shows, we had a COVID outbreak, we had show cancellations, a tightening of the lockdown, a lot of things that happened that kind of limited New Japan's ability to book. Who's to say that Ibushi was going to beat Jeff Cobb? Who's to say that that even would have been the de facto number 1 contendership match? There is possibilities that with other people in the country and healthy, that they might have been telling different stories altogether, provided Ospreay had even made it to that show that got canceled. So it's hard for me to kind of speculate on all of this when it's hard for me to even get past the first point of Ospreay winning to jump into like the fantasy area with the rest of it. But I will say this. I mean, I don't see a reason why, if Ospreay were to have retained, that he needed to drop the belt in short order to anybody else right off the back of beating Okada. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, getting a big win like that over Okada, you would think that he would probably be getting a long title reign. We do know normally first-time champions don't always have the longest reign, so him dropping it quickly, I could see that. But after beating Okada, I don't think that would have made much sense. I mean, as far as Ibushi, that they were building the Ibushi-Cobb match before Wrestle Grand Slam got canceled, so I'm assuming that match probably would have happened on one of those shows.
The thing is, with his question, he's assuming Ibushi Ospreay is the next big match, and because Ospreay obviously needed to go home, he's going to drop the belt. But who's to say that he doesn't retain? This is what Chris said last week. He retains, and then he goes home and rests up, for the remainder of the tour. We saw tours where Kenny Omega was champion that he wasn't even on the tours as the IWGP champion. So, I mean, there's some precedent there as well. It's not necessary that he had to, as the champion, be active and present on the whole tour, especially if he was able to go home, rest up, and get prepared to come back. Right. So, I mean, the rest, I understand what you're saying, and I see the logic here. I feel like it's just assuming too many things.
So, do you think it would be a buzzkill if Ibushi beat Shingo whenever they have their title match?
Yeah, I do. in this case because Ibushi doesn't feel hot anymore, and Shingo does.
Yeah, even after that awesome match with Jeff Cobb, I feel like Cobb was the one that kind of stood out in that match there, and people really talking about Cobb's performance, not Ibushi. So he definitely feels lukewarm right now.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk shit about Ibushi or say he's not great. We all know he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. He just, as a character, he just doesn't feel hot to me.
Right. And so, yeah, and there's obviously we talked about last week how the whole fan base just seems to be, ecstatic about Shingo winning and being the champion. And so, yeah, I think a title switch here would definitely kind of have some people scratching their heads on what's going on. His next question, he says, did you guys catch the big Stardom show this last weekend? The main event was fantastic and getting a lot of love, particularly from Uncle Dave.
I didn't see it. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, but it sounds like he might go 5 or above on it, which will infuriate, the WWE women's wrestling fans.
Yeah, the Sasha avatars are not going to be happy if Uncle Dave goes over 5 on that matchup. Didn't get a chance to watch it yet. Definitely, it's in the queue to watch. Hearing it's obviously a match of the year contender. Philly Tom Lawler said it's his favorite match of the year. It's been getting,
of all time.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, it's been getting a ton of praise from Dave, saying it's probably one of the best, women's matches ever. Our own resident Dr. Joshi, James Boyd, loves the match as well. So, yeah, definitely going to check it out. His next question here, do you guys think it's time for Western promotions to just plaster sponsor labels on turnbuckles, canvases, and mats like how the UFC and New Japan do it and get rid of commercial breaks altogether? Commercials just kill momentum in combat sports.
The UFC still has commercials. Anytime anyone's on television, there's going to be commercials. New Japan's not on television, so there's no commercials. So, I'm fine if Western promotions want to get that money, whatever, but there will always, they need commercials. That's where most of the money is.
Yeah, like you said, yeah, as long as they're on TV, there will be commercials. I do like the idea of having, selling sponsorships on the ring, the canvas, on the turnbuckles. I think New Japan's cool like that. And yeah, I think it would be a great way for companies to get additional revenue, especially some of the smaller companies.
I've never been a big fan of it personally. I put up with it, but I remember growing up watching the classic New Japan matches, and I remember when they did the BVD sponsorship, which eventually I grew to like that as well. But initially I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And then I found out it was a boxer briefs, company. And I was like, why? And then, fast forward and there's every sponsorship under the sun, and, it is what it is. But I like when on Strong, where it's just the classic blue mat,
Mm-hmm. Just a lion mark in the middle.
And I don't even like that. I like when the show first started, when they just had that
cerulean blue plane.
Yeah, just the blue mat. Next question, a bit of random question, but last week my nephew caught Dominion with me, was asking all sorts of things about wrestling in general. One of them was, why do wrestlers wear wrist tape? I honestly didn't know the answer to that. I remember hearing it either to protect the wrist from breaking or to hide things like blades, but I'm not sure and was wondering if you guys knew.
Well, young boy, you're the worker of the two here. Why do y'all wear wrist tapes?
Well, there actually are some legit reasons, and then there's some kayfabe reasons, but the real reason is you fuck up your wrists pretty bad when you're wrestling. And in fact, it's pretty important to strengthen your wrists regularly, doing different workouts to focus on the wrist, which sounds funny, but it is a real thing. Just like how wrestlers work on grip strength as well. But, if your wrists are sore, you tape them up. Most guys, especially guys who've been wrestling for a long time, when they're training, they tape up their wrists. So it's not just a for show thing. It is there is an actual reason. The other thing too is there's a lot of maneuvers in wrestling where people are grabbing each other's wrists and you sweat and you need friction there. I'm not saying it's 100% necessary, but one of the reasons you see the majority of guys wearing wrist tape is, if someone's, I don't know, let's say if someone's holding you up and the move requires them to have a good grip on your wrists, or even for just let's say an Irish whip or something, you want to have something that they can hold on to, so they don't drop you or something like that, or hurt you in some way. So, and then from like a kayfabe standpoint, there's like the whole, thing of like something you can get a grip onto as well, so there's that, the traction. And yeah, it is true. Guys do hide gigs and blades, in their wrist tape amongst other places. So there's that as well. But yeah, I mean, it's a legit thing. Like, guys tape up their wrists even when crowds are not watching all the time.
Nice. So moving on to questions here from Hawaiian Punch BV. He says, recently Keisuke Okuda posted a selfie with GOK and Ben K retweeted it. When GOK was asked about recruiting, that's going to mean Great Okan, he said United Empire had their eyes on those two. While I don't think Dragon Gate will be lending those two because one is possibly an ace and the other is champion, how exciting would it be if they did compete in the junior division? I'd give Ben K the win in Best of Super Juniors. Any fancy booking ideas you would have in mind if these two showed up?
Well, I'm not as big on Dragon Gate. I know Ben K. I don't know Keisuke Okuda. I will say this: no outsider has ever won Best of the Super Juniors. We did the Final Countdown, special last year where we examined and reviewed every single Super Junior final. And while, yes, there have been guys that have made it to the finals that were outsiders, they never win. And the ones that did win were signed with the company at that moment or shortly thereafter and became mainstays of the company. So it's not like they're out here like just giving love to like Dragon Gate or DDT or whoever, that's not really what the point of Super Juniors is. So if I was New Japan, I wouldn't have any of those guys win anything unless I was poaching them, Other than that, I don't know them that well. I know Ben K. I know he's very good, but yeah, United Empire definitely needs a junior, obviously. So
yeah, I mean, I've seen a few of Ben K's stuff in the last couple of years. Great talent, and like Okan said in the interview, the United Empire are looking for juniors. So it would be if that's the case, yeah, cool. Bring him in and give United Empire a junior. But like you said, I don't see these guys running a rough shot if they're not under contract. And we've seen, like you mentioned, in Super Juniors, that New Japan did a lot of poaching, especially kind of that early 2010s with guys, Ricochet coming over from Dragon Gate and Ibushi coming from DDT and all these guys coming from other promotions that they use in junior tournaments. When they won, they were getting signed up and used on tours. So we'll see what happens if Great Okan's actually, there's any smoke to that fire of him bringing in Ben K. This next question, with boxing having a showcase, aka tune-up weekend, which of the fighters are more likely to put on a better show? Naoya Inoue, Tefemo Lopez, Jermel Charlo, and Jamie Minguia?
Minguia. Yeah. That's a great question. I don't really know. I guess let's just say Teofimo. I mean, Inoue's really great. Charlo's really great. I'm not as familiar with Minguia, to be honest with you, but I mean, all those guys should win their fights. But Teofimo, I've been wanting to see him, have a fight since he upset Loma and all that. So this should be pretty good to see. But I think it's just kind of like a tune-up fight, from what I understand.
Gotcha. He also asked, let's talk about the real fight of the weekend: Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. versus Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva, when he was at his athletic prime, trained at the Wild Card Gym, was getting pressured to the ropes and schooled. Is this a strategy that even JCC Jr. can't screw up?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason that JCC Jr. shouldn't be able to just completely smoke Anderson Silva. I'm surprised the fight's even happening. I wanted Anderson Silva to fight Roy Jones. Not that he had a chance, but at least, at least that was something that was like kind of compelling given the fact of like who they both were and when they were trying to make that fight happen and everything. But, I don't know what to expect here, really. I expect Julio Cesar Chavez to just fuck him up, probably.
Next question here from Ethan Black says, favorite NJPW match and worst NJPW match of all time?
That's a tough question. Jeremy?
So for me, favorite match is pretty easy. Favorite match of all time, which the anniversary was this past week, and that would be the 2 out of 3 falls for the IWGP Heavyweight title. Kazuchika Okada taking on Kenny Omega at Dominion. Easily my favorite New Japan match of all time, and just how epic that match was, and Kenny finally getting the big win and getting the title there. Now, worst match of all time, I don't know if there's one in particular that I could say. I mean, New Japan, for the most part, has some really good matches, but there have been some stinkers since we've been doing this. But probably the first thing that comes to mind is I was going to say Naito and Evil from last year's Dominion.
Yeah, there's some worse ones. There's some really, really bad ones. I mean, there's the infamous, this is probably the right answer, Sting versus Tony Palmore from New Japan Battle 7, January 4th, 1995. That actually is like one of the all-time absolute worst tournaments in history. That match got -4 stars from Dave Meltzer. And then on the other side of the bracket, it was a one-night tournament, Antonio Inoki against Gerard Gordeau. Oh, and keep in mind, this is a shoot fight tournament with Sting in it.
What?
It was a martial arts tournament. Antonio Inoki against Gerard Gordeau got -2 stars from Dave Meltzer on the same night. And then Sting against Inoki isn't as bad as those matches, but it's still pretty bad. It got -1 star from Dave Meltzer on that night. So you're talking about a -6-star tournament altogether. So that kind of stands out. I don't know. Elegante against Yasuda from Dontaku 1994 is famously bad. That's like -2 stars. I don't know. Oh, Sakuraba and Yuji Nagata against the Gracie brothers, Daniel and Holes Gracie at Wrestle Kingdom 8 that's -1 star. That's famously bad. There have been a lot of like late stage Inoki matches are really bad. I don't know. Yano's been involved in quite a few duds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the stuff that I know of that's like really bad that I can think of. I'm sure Andre the Giant's been in some pretty bad stuff too, if I'm, thinking about it. My favorite New Japan match ever? That's a tough one. I don't know what my favorite New Japan match is.
I feel like for you, since you've been watching so much and have so much of the history, it might be easier for you maybe to pick one for each decade, maybe.
Yeah, I could probably do that. So, in the 70s, my favorite 70s New Japan match is easily Antonio Inoki against Billy Robinson, 2 out of 3 falls. That's like a near 5-star match. Broadway. So it's the only reason I've never recommended it. I don't want to make Jeremy watch a 1-hour match that from 1975 if he doesn't want to. So there's that. From the 80s, I go back and forth on this, but probably my favorite 1980s New Japan match is probably that's tough. I don't know. I'll say Vader and Stan Hansen. Or, I'm sorry, Andre the Giant and Stan Hansen from 81. Although on the show I've said other answers. I've said Tiger Mask and Dynamite Kid. I've also said UWF against New Japan, the Gauntlet match. That one's really good. It's up there. From the 90s. Oh man, there's some really good ones. Damn, I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, probably, I mean, it's probably Benoit against Sasuke from the J Cup finals. That's probably the right answer. From the 2000s, freaking Kawada and Sasuke from the Dome, January 4th, that one. And from the 2010s, yeah, it's probably Kenny and Okada. Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, there's like literally, there's so much out there. Like, I don't know. I could maybe go Okada Shibata actually.
Yeah, that's right up there as well. I mean, you can throw that up there. You can throw any of the Okada Tanahashi matches. I think there are some people who like the first Omega Okada way better than any of the other matches in the series.
I like Okada Omega 1 better than the rest of the series up until the fourth match. But I mean, there's a lot out there, man. I mean, literally, we could if we were talking about what I like, I mean, we could be here all day, literally.
Yeah, especially when you look back at some of those, Liger matches, those Special Super Juniors, and you got Kanemoto and guys like that running around, some of the Inoki stuff. I mean, New Japan just has a rich history.
I mean, yeah, and I didn't even some of the Hashimoto stuff, some of that Choshu match that I recommended a few weeks ago, that was months ago, it was really, really good. The G1 final with him and from 90, I think it's 98, him and oh god, why do I always forget names? It doesn't matter. Like the G1 final from 98 with him and whoever. I always forget names, but it's that match blows me away. Like there's just a lot, man.
Yeah, then you mentioned you get back in the 2000s, you think about the Shibatas and Okadas and Nakamura. Had a lot of great matches. Obviously Tanahashi. Just a ton of great talent with a ton of great matches over the years.
Yeah. So that's a loaded question. That's a really, really, really tough one to kind of answer, honestly.
Yeah. So then let's
Kazao Yamazaki. Yeah, the G1 finals with Yamazaki and Hashimoto. Remember that was the one where he kept sweeping the legs?
Oh yeah.
That one fucking rules.
So let's wrap up these questions here with a series of questions from Dom Homie 101. First he asked, between Okada, Naito, Jay White, Ibushi, and Tanahashi, who will be the first one to win the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship?
Well, Ibushi's already won it. So that would be the correct answer.
All right, let's take Ibushi out of the picture.
Out of Okada, Naito, Jay White, and Tanahashi, I feel like the right answer is Okada, but I mean, who knows, Right. Could be Naito.
Yeah, I think Okada maybe seen like the obvious answer, but I don't know. I'm going to go with Jay White.
It could be Jay. I didn't pick him because he's got the secondary belt right now.
Yeah. I'm just hoping for a long Shingo title run, and then eventually maybe Jay will drop the Never title, and eventually.
Yeah, we don't even really know what's going on with Jay White. Like, Jay White had COVID reportedly, and then he was quarantining, and then now apparently he's back in the States. I know he's got a question here. He says, how do you guys think Jay White will play into things when he returns to Japan? And, like, I don't really know the answer to that.
Right, like you mentioned, obviously he's still the Never Openweight champion, and we've seen this kind of transition of the Never title into the secondary title with the IC being gone now, and I'm seeing guys like Jay and Tanahashi fight over it. So I think we're probably going to see some guys who aren't doing anything kind of in that secondary picture. Like maybe if Jay was here, maybe it'd be like maybe Jay and Naito for the Nair title, Jay and Sonata.
Yeah, the other thing too is like, this is just me speculating, but Jay might be completely happy, right? He might be totally fine, but there had been those reports that when him and Dave Finlay had caught COVID and then they were quarantining in the dojo, they were not happy with that. Then you kind of combine that with, remember earlier this past year, there's speculation of whether he was resigning or not. Apparently he did. We don't know for how long. Probably more than a year, but what if it is just a 1-year deal, And what if there was a little bit of smoke to the story about, Gaijin talent being upset and the foreign unrest and everything like that. I just think about how hot he was prior to his return, and then he got cooled down real quick with the way they brought him back and then the way they've used and implemented him since then. I don't know if I was Jay White that I'd be like totally happy right now, with how everything has gone over this past year, especially with like, kind of feels like they had a ready-made story for him when he came back with the Bullet Club and with Evil, and they didn't pull the trigger on any of it. I don't know, man. I'm just speculating here, but I feel like they've missed a lot of opportunities with him over the past year.
Yeah, they definitely dropped the ball with the whole contract storyline, and this is not Jay talking. This is Jamie. I'm going home and all that stuff, and
right.
I think that could have been really intriguing. They could have done some cool stuff there. Like you mentioned, I mean, there was so much buzz. You had people who don't even watch New Japan full time who saw that storyline and saw the news and were hoping Jay would go to WWE, and that didn't happen. And yeah, they could have done so much more with that storyline.
But the only thing we can say for sure is when he comes back, it seems as though him and Dave Finlay have a date set. So that's what we do know. So
yeah. Next question, is it possible that the United Empire could add more members to the group since Ospreay is out for the near future?
It is possible. I don't know that they would establish a new leader, but I think it just depends on what stories they're trying to tell. The one glaring, sort of hole that they have is they don't have a junior in their ranks. So that might be something to think about.
Yeah, I think pretty much all factions that eventually get made kind of fill out all the spots, and Ocon did mention in that interview that they do want to be able to win every title in New Japan, and so obviously they need a junior if they want to do that. So I think at some point, whether that's a junior that's going on excursion and coming back from excursion, or he did mention too that the pandemic could have potentially stopped them from growing the Empire. So there were rumors of guys from Rev Pro potentially joining the Empire. So maybe there's a junior in Rev Pro that's kind of waiting for things to open up and come in and get a visa. So I definitely think the group will grow, especially once borders open up. We might see a junior. We might even see some more heavyweights add to the group. Next question we kind of touched on already. Any thoughts on Fred Rosser putting pen to paper by signing with New Japan? Any other thoughts on Fred?
We pretty much touched base on it, honestly. Congratulations to him. Excited to see what comes of it. But, I don't even know the nature of what the deal is to begin with. I think it's a lot of speculation at this point. It'll be exciting to kind of see.
Yeah. Non-New Japan question. He asks, what are your guys' thoughts on Karrion Kross, current NXT champion?
I've seen more of his work from prior to NXT. Right now, I'm not spending a lot of time watching NXT. I didn't even watch the Takeover special because I've got no investment or intrigue. But I've always thought he had a great look, and I've enjoyed his work. But from what I've seen since he got to WWE, I think he's having a lot of trouble assimilating to their style.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because in the group chat today, Karrion Kross come up and there was a lot of talk about him and him as the NXT champion, how that's not been working. I saw some of his stuff as Killer Kross. I mean, I thought it was good. I was never a huge fan. I wasn't super psyched when he came to NXT, and I really haven't enjoy how they've been presenting him thus far, and to me, he's just kind of bland in the NXT system. I think, like you mentioned, I don't think he's not really acclimated to the NXT style. I think he's fine. He's good, but if it was me, he would not be my NXT champion. He wouldn't be somebody that I'm pushing and having him beat 5 or 4 of my main eventers in one night. So. Moving on, he says, time for a little bit of fight talk. Thoughts on the MMA debut of the GWOT Clarissa Shields?
Yeah, I was glad to see that she overcame. I talked about this last week when the question was asked, how I thought she would do, and I said, that I thought she would be able to overcome, but that she might run into some issues. I think that's exactly what happened. In the middle of the fight, there was clearly some holes in her game, but she's learned enough at this point early on to be competitive and dominate, and she beat that girl's ass. So I don't know if I would say personally, I don't know if Clarissa Shields is in fact the greatest of all time for women's boxing. She's definitely top 5. I'd put her up there with like Cecilia Brækhus, Layla Ali, Ann Wolfe, and probably like Lucia Riker. Those are like, I don't know what order I'd put them in, but she might even be like top 2, top 3. But I think it's gonna be interesting to see how this experiment kind of continues. I hope she continues to have more success in MMA. But I mean, personally, like I want to see her box.
Next question, any thoughts on UFC 263? What is next for the fighters that took part in this event?
I actually didn't watch UFC 263 this week. I had something else going on. I don't remember what it was, but Jeremy, you watched it, right?
Yes, I did. Pretty good UFC. So I'm pulling up the results here. Remember what happened. So main event, we had Adesanya defeating Brandon Moreno by...
No.
Oh, sorry. Defeating...
Adesanya beat Vettori.
Vettori by referee decision there. Went all 5 rounds for the middleweight championship. Thought it was a good fight. I mean, I thought Israel was pretty much in control of the fight for all 5 rounds. For Marvin would try to, he was
take him down.
Yeah, take him down. There was a couple times where he got Adesanya down, but Adesanya would get up very quickly. Did not spend a lot of time on the ground when Marvin took him down. Working the strike games, Israel, he's just so fast and it's ducking and dodging, and was just getting some good strikes in on Marvin, and I think he just easily kind of outclassed him there, especially the last 2 rounds. And once again, Marvin kind of, in their first fight, he thought he won by decision, but didn't. And same thing here, he kind of thought that he won as well. But
yeah, big bounce back for Adesanya. Coming off that big loss at light heavyweight to Lahovic, so a return to form here at the middleweight division. I think people kind of wanted to see him blow out Vettori. He got the dominant win by decision, but I don't know if this was exactly the kind of performance that his fans were hoping for. But we'll see what happens next from there. Flyweight co-main event, we had Davison Figueiredo against Brandon Moreno. This is a rematch from their draw from earlier, I think this year, maybe it was last year, I can't remember. Moreno submitted Figueiredo to unseat the flyweight title from him, which is really cool because Brandon Moreno was like cut from the UFC in 2018, and to kind of see him work his way back. I remember watching him on Ultimate Fighter the season with all the champions back in like 2016 as like a young kid from Mexico, I believe. Oh yeah, he's the first. Yeah, of course, yeah, because he's the first Mexican-born UFC champion.
Right, that was kind of a big deal there, and also they were in Arizona, which is kind of they had a big Mexican fan base there, and so kind of a big emotional moment for him. Yeah, gained the rare naked choke victory here at 2 minutes 26 seconds in round 3.
And this was cool too because it's just another continuation of a story of guys who were kind of written off in the sport and then made their way back. I mean, Lahovic was one of those guys, and he's champion right now. Same thing with oh man, why do I forget names? Literally, like one of my favorite fighters. Who's the lightweight champion right now? Freaking A! What is wrong with me? I'm just
gonna have to pull the Google machine up on that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna feel stupid when I see it because Charles Oliveira. Yeah, Do Bronx. God, what the fuck's wrong with me? Anyways, Moreno is just another one of those guys that's kind of like made his way back and was written off and won the belt, and it'll be cool to see what happens from here. Other notable things: Damian Maia lost to Bilal Muhammad by decision, 3 rounds. Seems like this will be his swan song in the UFC. Like, he's saying he wants another UFC fight, but like, Dana White's pretty much saying he's done. So that's pretty crazy.
Nate Diaz. Yeah. Lost to Leon Edwards.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. Nate Diaz came out and just proved what kind of fucking superstar he is. The reception he got from the fan and the fans in the audience was just, thunderous. And even though the whole fight was controlled by Edwards through, 5 rounds, and I mean, look at that. Like, they gave them 5 rounds in a non-title fight.
Right,
like,
kind of giving the special treatment there for Nate Diaz. But yeah, huge superstar, huge pop, huge reaction. Huge Diaz changes throughout the fight. Diaz kind of very unorthodox, was kind of goofing around a little bit, kind of, putting himself in positions that would kind of make Leon get his guard down, that he would kind of strike. And towards the end of the last round there, he hit a big right on Leon that had him kind of wobbly feet there, but he couldn't finish it and put Leon away. So,
yeah, he came very close to finishing Leon Edwards at the very end of the fight, and clearly he didn't, but this is almost like the perfect outcome for the UFC, because Leon Edwards on paper is the guy that should win here at welterweight, and he did. And it puts him one step closer to being, top contender for the title. No one's really wanted to fight Leon Edwards. Like, everyone's been, ducking him like the boogeyman for good reason. So he picks up the win, but Nate Diaz, even though he lost almost the whole fight, he looked like he won the fight at the very end of it. Any lay person who's watching it sees him like almost finish this guy in the last few seconds. They're going to be excited. It puts Nate Diaz, even though he lost, it puts him in a good light. Like, this is like almost like the perfect, thing from a marketing standpoint for them. So, Nate will continue and, probably make big money in his next fight if they can come to terms. And then Paul Craig broke Jamahal Hill's arm in round 1.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Got in the arm bar there. Looked like he was tapping out. Ref didn't see it, didn't call for the tap. Then he got put in a triangle, and ref finally called it there. But that was a pretty nasty break there.
So yeah, didn't see the event, but I kept up with the highlights and everything like that. Sounds like it was a pretty good show, honestly.
Yeah, good stuff there. He asked, what's the biggest money fight that UFC could put on?
I think John Jones and
Ngannou?
Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
But the only other 2 fights I could think of that could hypothetically be bigger would be like maybe Khabib versus Conor McGregor 2. Or Khabib versus George St. Pierre. But, Khabib's probably retired, so I don't see either of those 2 things happening.
Yeah, and what's the deal with GSP? Is he still under contract with UFC?
So the deal is, he is under contract. He's retired from MMA. He's not fighting, but he has a contract with them in the event that he does fight. He was being contacted to potentially box Oscar De La Hoya in one of those, freak show exhibition fights, and the UFC pretty much blocked it because they argued that he is under contract to them, even though it's boxing, it's a different sport. They wouldn't let him do it, so it kind of fell apart. But I mean, he says he's not going to fight again. I think he was game to possibly fight if it was against against Khabib, but I don't think they were able to like come to financial terms.
Mm.
So I mean, he hasn't fought. His last fight was against it doesn't matter. It's when he won the middleweight title. That was like 2017, 2018, something like that.
I think didn't he have a non-title fight after that or no?
No, they were actually like pretty mad because the idea was he was going to fight for the middleweight belt, and then he fought Bisping. That's right. He fought Bisping at the end of 2017, and the deal was he's not a middleweight. He spent his whole career at welterweight, and the agreement was that once he fought Bisping, if he won, he would stick around to defend the title at middleweight. And he was small that night, and he had a lot of trouble getting up to that weight, and he actually had some health issues making the weight and decided not to fight again at that weight, and so he vacated the title. So the UFC felt screwed because they gave him the shot, and then he won the belt and then vacated it immediately. So yeah,
pulled a Will Ospreay.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, that wraps it up for all the questions this week. Up next, we have a recommended match of the week. Last week, Chris Samsa was on. He recommended for us to watch Kojima versus Shingo from Dominion. I believe that was 2019.
Yes.
You get a chance to rewatch this matchup?
Yep. This is, it's a nice little gem. Still holds up, still hard hitting. This was the first true heavyweight match that Shingo had in his run with New Japan, and, the inaugural match against Kojima, and Kojima made him, look like a tough son of a bitch, and, these two guys hit each other hard as fuck, and it didn't overstay its welcome. I mean, it's very enjoyable. I like this match a lot, still like it, and, I don't know, 3 3/4?
Yeah, about that. Yeah, I watched it again. Really enjoyed it. I love Shingo. I love Kojima. Like you mentioned, that kind of hard-hitting, Naira-style matchup. A great matchup to establish Shingo, to get him into the G1. And, that Dominion is very interesting. I feel like that Dominion kind of planted the seeds for a lot of kind of future stuff and a lot of cool stuff. We had Kenta coming out announcing his run the G1, John Moxley coming into the G1, and then Shingo here beating Kojima to kind of make his transition over, start transitioning over to heavyweight and to be in the G1. So a lot of cool stuff coming from that Dominion, especially this Kojima Shingo matchup here.
Awesome. Well, that's going to do it. It's going to take us to the recommended match of the week. This week it's my turn, and I am recommending something that is easy to find. It's on YouTube as well as Dailymotion, but it's a famous match, but it's not on New Japan World for whatever reason. And this is actually I had it. Let me go back. People were asking us crazy questions on the show. They had me kind of jumping all over the place. The April 28th, 1991 singles match from the Explosion Tour between Jushin Thunder Liger versus Owen Hart for the IWGP Junior title. This is rated 4.5 by Wrestling Observer Newsletter from that year. It's got an 8.28 on Cage Match. And at just under 15 minutes, this is the single longest singles match of Owen Hart's entire New Japan tenure, and highly recommended. This is the third match that these two ever had against one another in New Japan, and it's the rubber match.
Nice. Love Owen, love Liger. Can't go wrong with that combination there, especially for junior title in a big match situation. So looking forward to checking that out and talking about that next week. And
you know what? Actually, I apologize. That is incorrect. They wrestled each other 10 times in New Japan. This was the final match between them and the fifth televised match that they had ever had.
Gotcha. And
you know, and you know what, that makes sense. I always forget I've actually seen most of these matches. I have not seen the one from '87 that they had, but I've seen both '88 matches when it's Owen Hart against Kiichi Yamada. And yeah, this is the second time that they. Oh, and you know what? I apologize too. I said that this was for the junior title. It's not. This is during the Top of the Super Juniors tour.
Gotcha. So say the show name again and the date for that again.
April 28th, New Japan Explosion Tour. And very easy to find. You can find it right on YouTube or on Daily Motion. If you just Google Owen Hart versus Jushin Liger, it's like the first thing that pops up.
Nice. But yeah, definitely looking forward to checking that out. And before we go, remember, head over to socialsuplex.com/vote. Vote for the best fantasy card, which also happens to be the Keeping It Strong Style card. So go out, support us, get your votes in. And that's going to wrap things up for us here this week. Next week, we'll be back to review more of the Kizuna Road Tour. We'll be checking in on Tsuji and Yumura on their Gauntlet series. Also, we'll have that Never Six-Man title match to talk about as well. If you enjoyed today's show, please consider making a donation by visiting socialsuplex.com/donate. Click on the donate button under the Keeping It Strong Style logo. Make sure you connect with us on social media. On Twitter, the show is at KI Strong Style. The network is at Social Suplex. You can follow me at Jeremy L. Donovan. On Facebook, we are facebook.com/Social Suplex. Find us in the Wrestling Squared Circle group, facebook.com/group/Wrestling Squared Circle. On Instagram, we're at Social Suplex. On Reddit, I am the Pro Black Guy, just keeping it strong style. Email me, Jeremy at socialsuplex.com. You can check out our Discord server at Social Suplex Podcast Network. A link for that's in the show description. Make sure to check out all the other shows here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We have One Nation Radio hosted by Rich Latta and James Boyd. We have Grave Consequences with Caleb and Maserati, the 8-Bit Suplex with Josh number 2, All Things Elite with Floyd and Austin, and the Great Match Generator with Danny. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review, and we will catch you next week on Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts.
Ichiban.
Thank you for listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. We'll see you next time.
Introducing the Lowe's List for Innovation. While our aisles are filled with innovative products, we've selected our favorites just for you. Like the exclusive Whirlpool washer with industry-first 2-in-1 removable agitator. We love this washer because you can customize any load. And with other smart features to streamline your laundry routine, this product is a must-have for families. Shop the full Lowe's list of top picks at Lowe's.com. Lowe's, home to any budget, home to any possibility. U.S. only.
For the ones standing guard, for the eagle-eyed, for the knights in shining armor, and for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.